Now, I've got about 6 points additional that are in this standard tie manufacturer's contract. When we go through what I think are going to be the difficult bits, the duration of the contract and the quantity they want, we'll negotiate that. And it probably would be a good idea for you to take one of Vanessa's people up with you into Thailand, or pick somebody there up to go to the meeting. But I want to just go through 6 additional things I've seen in this standard agreement, wearing my hat as a former lawyer. And obviously you'll have to get your own legal advice, but I deal with this manufacturer quite a bit, so I just want you to know about these 6 things. So the first one of the 6 is pricing. They're happy to make each of the tubes for 30 cents per tube as their manufacturing costs. Is that going to be okay by you? I mean, I know you put in your proposal 20 cents American, but they've gone for 30 cents.
Is that, I mean, if I increase the volumes later on, would they change that, or is that going to be fixed forever?
You can speak to your lawyer, but you can actually have a staggered cost, so that the cost will reduce based on quantity. You can have that built into a contract. That's not something that's difficult to negotiate, because it makes sense. The more you exactly. So maybe we'll deal with that in that fashion, or you'll get your lawyer to deal with it. The second of the 6 things is standards compliance. They're a bit light on in their contract, because normally they're manufacturing. I mean, they do manufacture all the food products, but they tend not to deal with things like nuts, which can go off, as can. I believe I was speaking to somebody. They're saying that nuts have got fats in them, and the fats go rancid. Yeah. That's why I threw away a packet of peanuts the other night at home. Shame. But the thing is that you probably need in your contract a very specific clause about the standards that are to be maintained for the quality or control for the ingredients. And it might relate to things like the level of storage you want them to have. So you might be shipping your nuts from Victoria to Thailand, but you might want to specify the period or duration that the nuts are to be in their warehouse, meaning that if they're sitting in their warehouse longer than X number of months or weeks, they're not to be used.
Yes, there's very specific use by date, and also handling, because they are perishable, which obviously as a chef, I've got all these guidelines. So you think we should add that to the contract?
Yeah, I think you want to do that. Now, the third point is this question of certainty of supply. If you're going to have a situation where you've shipped the nuts to Thailand and shipped the rice, I mean, they're fairly loose in terms of their manufacturing delivery dates. You need to be probably giving to them a schedule of key dates, so that you're going to, while not necessarily make time of the essence, which in legal terms means that something must happen on a particular time date or time frame. While you don't have time of the essence in here, you probably need some dates. Can you coordinate the dates of supply of the various ingredients, so that you can be sure that when the canisters are manufactured, you're getting them in the right flow? Because we're dealing with a live product here.
So you think I can try to get a 12 months shipping schedule with the suppliers?
If you can lock that in with the Victorian suppliers on one side and the Indian rice suppliers, then we can put it into this manufacturing contract that, for example, within 3 weeks of supply of the relevant ingredients, the canisters must be prepared for you. Because for the manufacturer, the problem is that they don't use just one machine exclusively for you. Every product line they have to rearrange their machine. So they want to know that things are going to arrive in a particular date, and you want to know that things are going to go out on a particular date.
I'm a bit concerned it's all going to work according to plan here.
But the lawyer,
production issue, growing the nuts and getting those dry fruit ready here. But also the Indians, that's another contract altogether.
Yeah.
Are they going to deliver it also on time to coincide with the other issues I've got here? That's going to be very difficult.
What all lawyers will tell you is you don't go into a contract with somebody you don't trust, because trust is the main thing. And that's why I've sent you to a reliable manufacturer in Thailand, or suggested that you use one. And I think you're going to have to do the same thing. I don't know many people in India. I can give you some leads, but maybe Vanessa has other ones. But when you're picking somebody in India, pick somebody that you can trust. Don't rely on a contract. A contract is almost like a safety net, just like insurance is another safety net underneath the contract. But the number one thing is to eyeball and be very clear. And in a way, that's what we're doing as we're going through these points. So the fourth point that I have is your need to protect your intellectual property. Now, you said that the canisters are going to have Corinne's Kitchen on them, and that's a trademark registered in Thailand. And it's also, have you got it now?
Yeah, got it now, yeah, because
you got it in Australia?
Bruce told me I needed it in Australia.
Right, okay.
It's done.
Did anybody say anything about whether there was a design registration available for the shape of the tube to have rice, or is it just too generic, that tube?
I haven't checked that.
Okay, you might want to talk to a patent attorney, because they'll give you some advice. Off the top of my head, I don't think you're going to get very far. But one thing you do want to check is that nobody else is claiming intellectual property rights in the particular shape of your canister, because there are design registrations.
Canister is not a new idea. Canisters exist. I mean, I took that idea from.
You will be surprised what is protected by design registration. Something as simple as the decor containers you use at home with the lids on them, design registration. Chairs that you're sitting in right now, the microphone you're holding could have a design registration. You will be surprised. And so I think you're already up for at least $500,000 of investment, and you haven't even made anything. All of that could be washed away by somebody in Thailand or Australia saying that they've got a design registration over a canister which holds rice. So have that checked, please. Okay, the Incoterms section of this contract, I'm a little bit confused, but I think you've got some expertise on that from way back. What do you want to happen in terms of logistics, and what exactly is this Incoterms element in this contract?
All right. Well, because it's fairly complex, and I have a timing for it to get to the manufacturer through different directions, I really want to control the freight myself. So what I want to do is really deliver it and control myself, everything to be delivered to them, not just to the port, but to their manufacturer. So what I want to do is what's called a DAP, delivery at place, and let them handle the customs clearance, because it's food, it'll be easier for them on the import side to control the clearance. So I was looking at DAP.
Right. Okay. Well, that sounds good. The sixth point in this contract, which is the last point, is the termination clause. Usually the two places where people have disputes in contracts, what do you think they are, Corinne?
To terminate the contract, well,
the 2 points.
The 2 points, the termination.
The end point.
Yeah.
And the
when it needs to be terminated and why, isn't it?
Well, it's usually the beginning and the end are the 2 points people have more arguments about than in the middle.
Just like my canister, isn't it? Yeah.
That's right. So the termination, the problem is you need to think through what would happen if the worst possibility occurred. Now, I just want to role play this for a second with you, because you're the expert, you know your product, and when you speak to your lawyer, you want to be able to get them, when they review the document, to be very clear about what termination might mean. Let's assume there is 100,000 canisters already manufactured sitting in Thailand. Let's assume you're simply unable to pay for their delivery, and they terminate this agreement because of your failure to pay. I know you're not going to be able to do it today, but you're going to have to think through that possibility. Another one, let's assume that in fact you need 100,000 canisters produced for next month to be delivered to a particular country, and the Thai factory burns down. What are you going to do there? So you need to actually sit there and go through the various possibilities that could lead to termination of this contract, whether in the control of the parties or out of the control of the parties, and think about where the product might be. Might it be in transit? Where the costs might be? And then you can have a termination clause that isn't the usual generic statement. So in other words, the 6 points that we've talked about, including this termination point, it's about customizing what the wording of the contract for manufacture by the Thais is saying against your actual reality, with nuts going from Victoria and rice going from India. You get the drift?
I do. You're starting to scare me. There's a lot of possibilities I haven't been thinking about.
Well, that's why you're wearing black and so am I. It's a business colour.